Alrighty, so our next step is we need to start assembling the arches, the bows, whatever you want to call them, and that is these parts right here. So these are kind of the main part of the bow, and the long ones in back, those are the part. It's a cross tie that goes across there. Those are extra little angle braces, and then back over behind the box there, those are the top little connector that connects our two halves of the bows together. Now, what we're gonna try doing, ideally what you wanna do is you wanna have like a really nice big flat area to do this on, like a big concrete pad or something. Unfortunately, I don't have that. So I think what I might be able to do is do it back over here. It's fairly flat-ish, where I was scraping the dirt and trying to grade it a little bit. We're gonna give this a try because I think that's about the best place that I've got to try doing this. Two down, 23 more to go. Alrighty, well, yesterday evening, as you can see, I got 4 of the bows up, 4 of the arches up. The first one was, of course, the hardest because I had to kind of figure out how I was even getting it up there and getting it in place. And then after that, they kept on getting quicker. I think the last one, for the full assembling it and getting it up took about 15 minutes. So it definitely started getting a little bit faster towards the end. Now, you may have noticed that I have not put in the one at the very end here. And the reason for that is that both ends do not have this interior framing for your bow. And the reason for that is because you're going to have a door at both ends of the high tunnel, and you're going to be putting in framing for that. And that is sufficient to stiffen up your bow at each end, so that's why we don't have this. But because I don't have this, I can't get these end ones up myself, so I'm probably going to recruit my dad to come out here and give me a hand putting those up, because they're a little bit, well, actually a lot bit more flimsy to try and get those in place. Now, you also may have noticed that I'm not using the skid steer to put these in place. And you may be thinking, wouldn't that be a lot easier to use that to kind of lift them up there and put them where they need to go instead of trying to lift them? And yeah, it would be. The only problem with that is that the final drive, which is kind of what puts power to the tracks, it's got the sprocket on it with the teeth, the one on the left side is puking oil. So that's a bit of a problem, and it kind of makes it so that you really can't use it. So that's why we're putting them up by hand here. I'm really not sure when that's going to be fixed, and so I'm just going ahead and doing these manually. So after the last video that I did on the high tunnel, it kind of came to my attention that I hadn't really explained what exactly it is that a high tunnel is. You know, what do you do with one of these things once you get them up? And so a high tunnel is a lot like a greenhouse. They're very similar. They're used for growing plants inside. But the main difference between them is that a greenhouse is a little bit more robust. It's better insulated, and so you've got a little bit better temperature control with a greenhouse versus a high tunnel. But along with that, it's also going to be a bit more expensive as well. A high tunnel will give you around about 1 month extra growing, both in the spring and an extra month in the fall. So you're getting an extra couple months total each year of growing time by using a high tunnel, even though it's not quite as insulated as a greenhouse would be. Now, what I'm doing here is I just marked where each of these braces is going to connect onto this main bow for our horizontal, as well as the cross piece that connects the horizontal to the bow. And this is one thing that this manufacturer did really well in their instructions with, is these dimensions that they gave are dead on. It's been working really well. However, there's also been other things that they didn't do quite so well. For instance, they didn't say anything in their instructions about which bolts to use to connect our bows, our arches, to our ground anchors. So I kind of had to sort through the hardware that we got and look at what I could find info on and which ones were left, so that I knew which ones I was supposed to be using for connecting these two parts together. They also didn't say anything about the two different sizes of these little clamps. In fact, they don't even list them separately in the parts. But there's two different sizes of these pieces because this is, I forget, maybe an 1.25 inch, 1.5 inch wide pipe here, and this here, I don't know what it is. This might be, I think this might be 1.5 inches, and this is 1.25 inches or something. So there's two different size clamps to go with that as well. But they didn't even mention that there's two different sizes of these. So definitely could be some improvements with the instructions, but if you kind of use a little bit of common sense and look at what all you've got for parts, you can, so far I've been able to figure everything out, I think. Alrighty, well, we've passed the halfway mark. We've got 14 up, and then we've got 10 left down at this side, and then of course the one all the way back at the end that doesn't have the cross bracing in it. So got 11 left, 14 done. Hopefully I'll be able to knock out the rest of these 9 with the cross braces get put up, and at least hopefully get the two end ones put together, and then I can just leave them laying here, and then whenever I can get another set of hands to help put those up, those will be ready to go. All right, this is the last one of the ones that have the cross pieces on it, and then we're just down to the 2 simple end arches. Alrighty folks, well that is going to do it for putting the arches up on the high tunnel. The next step is going to be to start putting in the purlins, and those run lengthwise along the high tunnel, kind of in the top of the arch, and those connect all of the arches together and kind of stiffen the whole frame up. So that'll be it for this time. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time.